everyone, welcome back to the channel. A question I get asked quite frequently is what's an EC1? Why is it necessary and what's its purpose? Well, I've been out here recently and seen a couple trains here and there, and I think I can answer the question pretty clearly and simply. So let's go. A common example that I know y'all have heard quite a lot in these videos is a normal EC1 for track authority. These are used for trains in dark territory where there's no signals, for instance, lines like the Valrico sub in the Bone Valley or the Brooksville sub. It's Tuesday, April 16th, and train L781 is getting ready to depart Tampa and head northbound using the Clearwater sub to access Sulphur Springs. An interesting note about this Clearwater line is the timetable runs backwards up from Tampa. On a map, the tracks from Tampa to Sulphur Springs clearly run north, yet to get track authority, trains must run southbound on the timetable. Because the end of the line at St. Pete is physically south of Tampa and Yeoman Yard, trains run southbound to Clearwater and northbound back to Tampa. This reverses the direction of trains on this short segment of trackage where the lines turn south to Tampa. Hence why L781 gets southbound authority to Sulphur Springs, although he's clearly running physically northbound. The same must be done for any train using the sub, like daily L755, L782, or L791. Prior to every shift on the railroad, the crew gets their paperwork from the yard office, telling them their orders for the day, like where they're going, with what cars and locomotives. Part of their stack of paperwork are switch and EC1 forms. These blank documents let crews fill in their locations, identification, and times, which are told to them by dispatch with an EC1. There's different sections for different authorities. In L781's case, they're just going to fill out the top section, line 1A, which gives them permission to run from TN interlocking in Tampa to Sulphur Springs.
We got an EC1 number 94190. 94190. Today's 8041624, location S841.0, L78116. Engine 7507, AV sponsor, circle line 1A. I'll put on main track, south direction. From NES10 main to the switch, Sulphur Springs, main track, over.
Below that, line 1B gives them permission in both directions between Sulphur Springs and Brooksville, where the North Hammock yard limits are located.
Circle line 1B, I'll put on main track, both directions between South Sulphur Springs yard limit main and North Hammock yard limit main.
Finally, the JF dispatcher tells 781's crew to circle line 11, a different section on the form where the crew will write down switches and their respective mileposts in order to operate them. Tonight, 781 gets his usual three: the SY848, which is Sulphur Springs and the alignment needed to take the train to Brooksville and not Clearwater, the SR825.1, which is Pasco Iron and Metal, and the 806.0, the Spring Hill Industrial Park. Cemex and its loop track doesn't require switch permissions as it's inside of the North Hammock yard limits, which 781 already has permission on from that line 1B.
So line 11, I get a hand operator to switch at SY848.6, SR825.1, and SR806.0, over.
After about 3 minutes of conversing back and forth over the radio, 781 gets a signal over the diamond at TN and continues north to Brooksville.
Icon 1846 JFC, over.
1846 JFC, thank you.
Yeah.
These trackage EC1s are the most common, heard in Central Florida around yards in the Bone Valley, where not all tracks are signaled. Another example is Amtrak 91's daily EC1 to access Tampa Union Station. Since, like the Clearwater sub, signal territory ends at TN along the A line, an EC1 is required for trains to operate on the line past the interlocking. For trains 91 and 92, EC1s are written to enter the station between TN and the milepost A881.8, the switch for TUS, and vice versa for departing. We'd be in Lakeland to catch today's Amtrak 91 depart for Tampa, who'd be getting his EC1 for TUS as we'd set up.
Ineffective at 1314, 1314 SCM.
1314 SCM. And I got something to tell you here, dispatcher. Right here at the 850.7, crossing here at Lakeland, the first one, the east side entry gate is stuck up on the lights, and the exit one is also stuck up in the air.
What crossing that, Jimmy? I saw that other dispatcher tell me. That's on his side there.
Yeah, it's Massachusetts Avenue, 850.7.
As heard over the radio, Massachusetts Avenue, the first crossing west of the Lakeland Amtrak station, was having some issues. 91 would do the right thing by calling it in, which will be handled by the dispatcher, who will report the issue to the Signal and Maintenance Department. From there, a crew out of Winston will be sent out to fix the problematic crossing. In our case, I believe the gates would not be fixed until the end of the day. Until then, however, an EC1 is once again required to operate over the crossing.
Dispatcher Jacksonville, over.
Hey, dispatcher. Other dispatcher's probably going to let you know, but I'm here at Lakeland Station. We'll stop at 850.7, Massachusetts Avenue. One of the entry gates on the east side is stuck up in the canopy with the lights, and the exit one is stuck right up in the air.
All right, let's signal department now, over.
All right, roger that, dispatcher. Here we go. You have a good one.
Thank you, CSX dispatcher out.
91 with a 334 has clear signals all the way through Lakeland. Here we go.
Yeah, all the way through Lakeland, 91 out.
Although it's profiled as a false partial activation, it's still considered a mechanical failure, and since it'll take a while to fix, trains will need an EC1 to pass by. This is another standard practice heard all the time as crossings and their guards sporadically malfunction, but it's always that much more interesting when you see it in person. That'll do it. I'm guessing the wind must have pushed the crossing gate into the cantilever and it found the perfect spot to get lodged. Apparently one of 91's conductors tried to pull the gate out and it didn't budge. Now since the gate can't go back up into its resting position, it continues to trigger the rest of the gates, not allowing them to turn off either. This would leave lights flashing, confusing many Lakeland drivers and only making things more hectic as another train approached.
79326, over.
Alright, we're all brake tested together on board. Bloomer and Duncan. Head Bauer, 3115, got TCC, CO, 206 cars, all empty, about 9,900.
All right, good enough. Yeah, you can come north when you're ready there. Call JA. I'll walk over and tell Brian they got a false partial around the station there at Lakeland.
L793 is a new train, created in the past couple weeks as a Winston to Hialeah rock train, a quasi-unit train similar to a short-distance K train from a few years ago. This train has changed some operations of other trains, as L773, the Winston Autorack train to Palm Center, has now been abolished, and trains M453 and 452 respectively handle the Autorack traffic. They haven't been stopping in Winston either, making M604 and M603 much longer, as that freight is now added to that consist. The northbound counterpart to L793 is, shocker, L792, an early morning run in this area. Trains L743 and L729 are unaffected, with rock operations by Tampa's L778 also not affected. L793 would get an EC1 to operate over Massachusetts Avenue, which is where we'd set up for them. My first time seeing this guy, and he'd be massive today. Over 10,000 feet of loaded rock for the greater Miami area. Notable of this catch of 793 is his presence of horn. Lakeland has been a quiet zone for many years now, and with the exception of warning blows from departing and arriving Amtraks, I've yet to catch a train blowing in downtown. That is, of course, until today, as L793 is mandated to blow the horn for the malfunctioning crossing.
First one is EC1 number 88864. That's 88864. 8042724. Location Valpost A, 853.0. CD train L79326. It's CSXT 3115. Employee IJ Duncan, copy. Circle line 6B. 6B is a false partial activation. Account automatic grade crossing warning device malfunction at Massachusetts Avenue. Massachusetts Avenue, road crossing. At Malpost A, 850.7. On all tracks, flagger no. Over.
Alright, L793, alright, here we come.
Alright, here we go. CSX dispatcher out.
Here in the coming months, I bet we'll start to see a lot more of the L793 and 792 pair, as they're basically mini Rocky unit trains that run down the Auburndale sub in daylight. For today, however, we'd say farewell to 793 and the malfunctioning gate here in Lakeland and head for home. The next day, while running some errands, I'd pull off at Tibbetts Lumber on the Brooksville sub. This is milepost SR826, one of two mainline switches and customers located in Land O'Lakes, served by the line's Sunday turn. Of interest tonight would be the two pieces of maintenance equipment shoved into the spur here. Since the next available house/storage track is way up in Brooksville, CSX parked these two MOW machines here at Tibbetts, oddly in front of two empty center beams, which would not end up being picked up this Sunday night. This old seaboard main is rich in history, as many of you know, and some of it is still tangible today. Here at the 826 and the 825.1, which is Pasco iron and metal, are these two tall switch stands. Installed more than half a century ago during this line's seaboard days, these weird products are still getting it done in 2024, with their mainline targets showing green in the normal position and red when reversed. This would give me another idea for another shooting location for L781 in the coming weeks, and I'd only have to wait 2 days to pull it off. Only 48 hours after stopping here, I'm back, this time with my camera gear, where the ballast machines are no longer. Monday morning, the track crews would return and move up the line, taking their machines with them, now storing them up in Spring Hill at the 806 spur, which breaks out at said milepost. It's just after 8 p.m. now, and on this May evening, L781 would appear just before sundown, much to my delight. I love seeing this train at any time, but it's always a bit more special when it's in daylight. Nothing crazy on this one, 2 biodiesels, scrap, and cement, with a friendly crew at the controls. With L781 heading off to the sunset, I drive back home satisfied after another daylight shot of this local. Thanks for watching, everyone. I appreciate the viewership I've been getting recently, even though I'm very busy and don't post as much as I'd like to. Summer's right around the corner though, which should give me more time for shooting trains in the area, so stay tuned. But until we meet again, this is Christian from Multicolor Films, end of transmission.